All right, diving right in. Looks like we've got a mountain of stuff on the metaverse this time.
Yeah, from what I can see, folks are really trying to wrap their heads around it.
Makes sense. It's one of those things, it's everywhere you look these days.
Definitely feels like we're past the, is this just a fad stage?
Totally, especially with, well,
Meta, right. I mean, dropping the Facebook name, that was a bold move.
no kidding. I remember seeing that announcement. I was like, whoa, they are serious about this.
And it's not just them. We've got articles here on Microsoft, Apple, even Epic Games, all in the mix.
So maybe that's our starting point. This isn't just some niche tech thing anymore, is it?
Not at all. I mean, Meta's vision alone, working, socializing, even owning stuff.
Owning stuff. That's the part that still kind of blows my mind.
Right, like digital real estate, it's a whole new world of, well, everything.
It's a lot to take in, that's for sure.
It is, and honestly, that's where this whole metaverse term gets interesting.
Because it didn't start with Zuckerberg, did it? I feel like I vaguely remember this from somewhere.
You're right, it's actually from a sci-fi novel, Snow Crash, back in the 90s.
Wow, so this idea's been floating around for a while then.
Longer than most people realize, and what's funny is, some of it feels eerily familiar now.
Like what? I admit I haven't read the book.
Well, you've got this protagonist, right? He's a pizza delivery guy in real life.
Okay, relatable. That's like half the gig economy these days.
Exactly. But in this virtual world, the metaverse, he's like a top hacker,
Uh,
super skilled.
Huh. So even back then, they were playing with this idea of online versus offline personas.
Oh, yeah, big time. And there's this virus in the book, the snow crash virus. Get this.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
It can actually affect people in both the real world and the virtual one.
Whoa, that's getting a little too Black Mirror for me.
I know, right? But it makes you think, what happens when those lines start to blur?
That's a question we'll definitely have to dig into more. But first, back to the real world for a sec.
Sure.
Meta, they're not just talking about fun and games with this metaverse, are they?
Nope, not just games. One thing that came up a lot in the research was their focus on work.
Work. Like, I get the socializing aspect, but how does work fit into this?
They've actually got this software, Horizon Workrooms. It's all about virtual offices.
Wait, so like, instead of Zoom meetings, we'll be in VR headsets.
Basically, and it's designed to address some of those, well, Zoom frustrations.
Oh, I feel that, like how you never really feel present in a video call.
Exactly. In Horizon Workrooms, you've got avatars, hand tracking, even spatial audio.
Spatial audio, explain that one. I'm picturing surround sound, but fancier.
It's kind of like that. It simulates how sound travels in a real space. Super immersive.
I guess that makes sense. Got to make it feel real if you're going to be working there.
Right. But even with all that, there are limitations. Like you can't actually walk around.
What? Seriously? I thought the whole point was to be more embodied, not just floating heads.
I know, right? But apparently they went with a teleportation system instead.
Interesting choice. Guess the tech's not quite there yet.
Could be, but it just shows they're still figuring this whole thing out as they go.
Makes you wonder, if even Meta's hitting snags, what about everyone else trying to build this metaverse?
Yeah, that's a good point, especially with so many different companies in the mix now.
And they all want a piece of the pie, don't they?
Absolutely. And each one's bringing their own strengths. Microsoft with the business software.
And Apple always got to be the cool kids with their fancy AR/VR headsets.
Right. And then you've got gaming companies, the ones who've actually had virtual worlds for years.
So the question is, who's going to come out on top? Is there even going to be a top?
That's the million-dollar question, right? Will it be one giant metaverse? Or a bunch of smaller ones?
Or maybe something in between, like, I don't know, a multiverse of metaverses.
No, there's a thought. I guess we'll have to see how it all plays out.
We will indeed. And honestly, that's what makes this whole topic so fascinating, right?
Absolutely. It's like we're watching history unfold in real time, trying to make sense of it as we go.
Couldn't have said it better myself. But hey, before we get too existential on everyone, we've got that whole pile of research to get through.
Right. Let's dive back in. Yeah, tons to unpack still.
For sure. Like we were just talking about all these companies jumping into the metaverse.
And it makes you think, right? What happens when this tech goes mainstream?
Because right now, it feels like it's still early adopters mostly.
Early adopters, yeah, the ones with the fancy headsets and...
And the money to buy all the digital land and stuff.
Right, exactly. So one of the big questions in the research was accessibility.
Like, how do we make sure this isn't just a playground for the wealthy?
That's the thing. It can't just be another way to, widen the gap between the haves and have-nots.
Totally. I mean, the internet itself has struggled with that, hasn't it?
It has. And the metaverse, well, it has the potential to be even more immersive.
So if we're not careful, those inequalities could get amplified, not reduced.
Exactly, and that's just one piece of the puzzle. There's also the whole privacy thing.
Oh yeah, that came up a lot in what you guys sent in. People are worried about data.
Understandably so. I mean, think about it. We're talking about blending physical and digital even more.
Way more. Like right now, our online activity it's traceable, but it's separate.
Separate, right. But in the metaverse, well, imagine wearing a headset that tracks your every move.
That's kind of creepy when you put it like that.
It is, and that's why all this stuff about data ownership, transparency, it's crucial.
It is. Like, who's going to control all this data? Who gets to decide how it's used?
That's another big debate. Is it going to be corporations calling the shots?
Or governments? Or, I don't know, some kind of decentralized system.
Decentralized, that's the ideal for a lot of folks, right? A truly open metaverse.
But is that even realistic? I mean, someone's got to be in charge, right?
Well, maybe, maybe not. That's what everyone's trying to figure out.
It's like we're building the plane as we're flying it, you know?
Yeah, that's a good analogy. And it's not just the tech itself, it's the whole cultural impact.
Right, like what kind of society are we creating in this metaverse?
Exactly. Do we want it to mirror all the problems we've got in the real world?
Or is this a chance to, I don't know, do things better?
Do things better, build a more equitable, just world. That's the hope for some.
It's a nice thought, but honestly, it feels a little naive, doesn't it?
Maybe, but hey, if we're not even aiming for that, what's the point?
Good point, but let's not get too lost in the philosophy here. We've got other stuff to cover.
Sure, like what?
Well, one thing that kept popping up was creativity, like how the metaverse is changing art.
Oh, yeah, that's huge. We've got articles here on virtual concerts, art galleries, even fashion shows.
Fashion shows in VR. That's got to be interesting to see.
It is, and it's not just mimicking the real world, it's pushing boundaries, doing new things.
Like what? I admit I'm having trouble picturing it.
Well, imagine a fashion show where the clothes change color as the models walk.
Whoa. Okay, that's pretty cool, and people are actually buying these digital outfits.
They are. And it's not just big brands. There's a whole new wave of independent creators.
So it's like the metaverse is leveling the playing field, giving everyone a chance to showcase their work.
In some ways, yeah. But of course, there are still challenges like copyright, ownership.
Right. If everything's digital, how do you even prove who made what?
That's where NFTs come in, actually.
NFTs, the solution to everything, apparently.
Well, they're not a cure-all, but they do offer a way to track ownership, verify authenticity.
Okay, so it's not just about speculation and, like, monkey JPEGs.
Not at all. NFTs are still evolving, but their potential for creative industries is huge.
I'm starting to see that. Yeah, it's like a whole new way to think about value and ownership.
Exactly. And honestly, that shift in thinking, that's what's really exciting about the metaverse.
I get it. It's not just the tech itself. It's the whole shift in how we interact, create, do business.
Exactly. And all of that, well, it's happening right now as we speak.
It is kind of mind-blowing when you think about it.
It is, and that's why it's so important to have these conversations, explore the possibilities.
And the potential downsides, too, right? We can't just ignore the risks.
Definitely not, and that's what we'll be looking at more in the next part of this deep dive.
Sounds good. I'm ready for round 3. How about you?
Bring it on.
All right, so we've covered a lot of ground, but honestly, I think there's still one big piece of the puzzle we need to really unpack.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
It's all well and good to talk about this vision of the metaverse, right? But how does it actually work on, like, a technical level?
That's the thing. A lot of folks hear these buzzwords, blockchain, NFTs, and their eyes kind of glaze over.
Totally. It can feel really intimidating, like, am I even supposed to understand this?
Right, but it's not as complicated as it seems once you grasp the basic concepts.
Okay, so let's break it down then, starting with blockchain.
All right, blockchain, think of it like a giant digital ledger.
A ledger, like an accounting book.
Kind of, but instead of being kept in one place, it's distributed across a network of computers.
So it's like everyone has a copy, and every transaction is recorded on everyone's copy.
Exactly, and that's what makes it so secure, because to tamper with it, you'd have to hack into every single computer.
Whoa, okay, that makes sense. So it's like super tamper-proof.
Exactly, and that's where NFTs come in.
All right, NFTs, hit me with it.
They use this blockchain technology to create unique, verifiable digital assets.
Digital assets, meaning?
Anything digital, really. But let's stick with the art example, since that's where it all started.
Okay, so I create a piece of digital art. How do I make it an NFT?
You basically mint it on a blockchain platform, which creates a unique token that represents that artwork.
A token? So like a digital certificate of authenticity.
Exactly. That token is linked to the artwork on the blockchain, and it can't be duplicated.
So even if someone copies my artwork, the NFT
Mhm.
proves I'm the original owner.
Precisely. It's like having a digital fingerprint that can't be forged.
I'm starting to get it now, so it's not just about the image itself, it's about this proof of ownership.
That's the key. And that ownership, it can be transferred, sold, traded, all securely on the blockchain.
Okay, so that's how people are buying and selling digital art, virtual real estate, all that stuff.
Exactly. And it's not just limited to those things. We're seeing NFTs used for tickets, memberships, even access to physical spaces.
So like instead of a concert ticket, I have an NFT that proves I paid for my spot.
Exactly. And that NFT could even unlock extra perks like backstage access or exclusive content.
That's pretty cool. I can see how that would be appealing to fans.
Right. And it's all about creating a more seamless, secure experience.
Okay, I'm sold on the concept, but let's be real. There's been a lot of hype around NFTs, hasn't there?
Oh, yeah, tons of hype. And some of it, well, it's been justified.
Like those crazy stories of people buying pixelated punks for millions.
Those were definitely attention-grabbing, but they also led to some misconceptions.
Yeah, like that NFTs are just a get-rich-quick scheme or a passing fad.
Right, but those early examples, they were just the tip of the iceberg.
So what's the real potential here, beyond the speculation?
The real potential lies in transforming how we think about ownership, value, authenticity in the digital world.
And that applies to way more than just art.
Absolutely. We're talking about music, gaming, fashion, even things like identity verification and supply chain management.
Whoa, okay, so this is bigger than I initially realized.
It is, and we're just scratching the surface. There are so many possibilities yet to be explored.
That's exciting and a little overwhelming, honestly.
It is, but that's the beauty of it, right? We're all figuring this out together, pushing boundaries, seeing what works.
It's like the Wild West of the internet all over again.
Exactly, and that's why it's so important to stay curious, keep learning, and not be afraid to experiment.
I couldn't agree more, and that's a great note to wrap up on, I think.
Yeah, I think so too.
We've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive, from the big picture vision of the metaverse to the technical details of blockchain and NFTs.
And we've touched on some of the big questions, the potential benefits and the risks.
Exactly, and honestly, I think that's the key takeaway here. There are no easy answers. This is a complex, evolving landscape.
And it's one that we all have a role in shaping, whether we realize it or not.
So true. So to everyone listening, thanks for joining us on this journey, and keep exploring.
Keep exploring.